This is a little platform that you'll walk in and stand on. We had to put something here because of the wheel wells underneath the door frame. This is gonna have storage in it, and there's gonna be another step. This is probably where we're gonna put a little wardrobe so that when we walk into the space, we have a designated spot to take our shoes off, take our coat off, and have it go somewhere so it's not just thrown about the house. Well, here's our living room. It's really big and great, and we're gonna have our big L-shaped couch right here, and then over here is where we're gonna have a big like storage cupboard, a big bookcase or something, and our TV will go up here. There's big high windows on both sides, and that'll be, well, it's just nice for extra light. They're right across from each other for cross breeze, and we had them go up high so that if you're sitting and watching TV, there's no like window down here that's shining in on your eyeballs, and there's also no window that's low on this side that would cause a glare on the TV. Over here we're gonna have a little tiny wood stove. It's called a Grizzly, and it's freaking adorable. Basically a foot by a foot by a foot. So just a little guy, and it'll be wall mounted onto our wall. Despite how small it is, it's actually going to be capable of heating our entire space. So this black thing that you see is our wheel well. We used a drop trailer so that we could have more height, which was really important to me for the locks. We're gonna have cabinets in an L shape, so probably about right here. Right here where I'm standing is gonna be our kitchen sink. We've got a window right above it, and the roof and plumbing's already in place. We're gonna have our dish drawer right here. That's a dishwasher, but a drawer shape rather than a full size because that would be in the way. So over here we're gonna have our little cooktop that's inlaid into the counter. We'll have some upper cabinets as well. That's a exhaust fan that we can turn on for when we cook. We're gonna move it though because it's not in a good spot. And this right here is actually our hot water tank. Well, not a tank, it's an on-demand water heater, a tankless water heater, and it's fueled by propane. And it's just gonna sit under our countertop. It's hard to use corner cabinets anyways, and so this seemed like just a really good spot to hide our water heater. And if we ever need to access it, we will be able to by opening this cupboard underneath our sink. We can get to it. Our fridge is gonna be right here. And then we're gonna have a pantry, a tall pantry. And that's where we're gonna have most of our food probably stored. And then there's gonna be a little gap right here, and that's where we're gonna store a sliding ladder that we'll use for loft access. And so we have our bathroom over here, and then over on this side, we're gonna have our washer dryer, the stacked like apartment kind. It's got all of its hookups ready. And so when you walk through this little doorway, it's gonna be pretty narrow, but it'll open up in just a few feet. Since this is a really narrow spot, we have a big window, so it'll feel a lot more open and light and less crowded. And then in here's our bathroom. Nothing fancy, just functional. Our vanity will be right here in the corner with our sink and a mirror and medicine cabinet, hopefully. Over in the corner is where our toilet will sit. We have another fan right here in the wall for obvious reasons. And then another large window. And these windows are also right across from each other. So as long as the bathroom door is open, if we wanted to open both, we'd get a really strong cross breeze. And this is a big old bathtub. It's enameled steel. It's lighter than cast iron, but just as strong and should have just as long of a lifespan. Then our shower head will be here, and our bathtub spout will be down here. Alright, so down here, again, the stairs will be right here. But here's our back bedroom. Our house is big enough that we actually have a whole bedroom in the back on the main floor. We're not using this as our bedroom, but this should be a really functional space. So we're gonna have probably a barn door situation sliding so that you can close it. And this is our platform or our landing for our sleeping loft. You'll go up the stairs and as you'll see, this is standing height. And then below here, we're just going to be using it as our closet. Over here, this is actually a bump out over the tongue of the trailer. And so we're going to use this as a nice big desk space. You can just spread out your stuff, and I might put some shelving up along here. Nice little window here. Our plan is to have a twin size bed with drawer storage underneath, and we can use this for guests or just a place to hang out if we don't want to be in the living room. And there's a nice big window, so even though this room is small, it really feels spacious. And up right here is a steel header, and this is just loft support because the loft can't connect to the exterior wall on this side. And so between these beams and the headers, that just provides all the structural support that the loft needs. So here we're on the landing. So the stairs will be right in front of me, going down that way. But as you can see, even after we add the ceiling panels, this is definitely standing height for both of us. As of right now, this platform is about 6 feet long, so it'll be almost the length of our mattress, so we can stand here and get into bed rather than climb up and then crawl into bed in the loft. So this is the loft. This is where we will have our bed, and it's really nice and high up here in the middle. I chose to have the highest point in the roof right here in this spot. That extends the whole length of the house, but it was most crucial for this purpose right here, was so that you could stand comfortably on the landing, get into bed, and have the highest point of the roof right here. And even with our mattress, I should be able to comfortably sit up in bed, which was really important to me. It feels really nice and spacious up here because of how wide the house is, and also because we have windows on both sides. So it doesn't feel like a cave at all. It feels really open, and I'm excited. I'm excited for this to be our bedroom. So we'll have our bed sit right here. A little bedside table probably on both sides, and then our dog will have his own bed that he sleeps in. It'll probably be over in the corner because he likes to sleep near us. We have the wall partially built already, so this will be solid wall, and same with over on this side. And then right here in the middle, what we're probably going to do is have a window, either a window or like an accordion door, but the window would be neat because if you want to have like some sound protection but still let some light in from the rest of the house, or have it feel a little bit more open, use a clear window. So that's the plan for that. And then the rest of the loft is kind of designated for a different purpose. Our loft is still only over about half of our house, so if you want to pan over there, this is how much of our house is not covered by loft, which is still a lot of square feet. So all of the kitchen, all of the living room, all of the entryway. Yep, it'll all have full ceiling height. There's our mini split. It will be our source of air conditioning and a source of heating for our whole house, that one unit. So in this part of the loft, again, this will be a wall. This is actually, I think, one of our favorite spots in the house. We're both excited about it because we have obviously the lowest part of our roof over here along this wall, but between not having a mattress on this side and also having this huge 3 foot by 3 foot skylight, I can sit up comfortably anywhere in this loft. Along this wall, we're probably going to have shelving or some kind of storage, and I intentionally did not put a window along this side so that we could go floor to ceiling with shelving or something. Also, we have so much light coming in from the skylight that it feels so bright up here. So the skylight is huge. It's 3 feet by 3 feet, and you can open it. There's this big lever that you just pull and then push, and it's windy. The wind is pushing against it. There we go. It opens up all the way. It brings a pretty big breeze in here as long as the wind's blowing at least a little bit. So that'll be really nice. But also you can full on just stand up in the loft. I can see the roof, the whole roof of the house. We haven't tried this yet, but we will also be able to climb out onto the roof if we ever wanted to do that. This is open right now, but it will be walled off. This side of the loft will just have a railing, so it'll feel open, but you won't fall off, obviously. There's a great little window right here, and we're going to use this space for another desk, which I will just take an existing desk and trim the legs down and have it sit right here, and it'll be great. You can overlook the living room. You could actually watch TV from here if you wanted to multitask. The design of our house was centered around functionality for sure. Also, you know, design, wanting the space to feel good, but also like controlling light and sound was definitely a forethought in everything about our house. So like all of our windows will have blackout screens that we can use when we want to, but even the placement of the windows had my eyeballs in mind. And so for our sleeping loft, we wanted a way to sort of close it off from light and sound if we want to sleep in, or if one of us is up later than the other, they can be downstairs with the TV on and we're still up here, and it's just a nicer separation of space, which is not common in tiny houses. Usually it's just an open loft right above the living room. The total square footage of the house is just under 400. 400 is the maximum to qualify as a park model, and so we just had to take off a bit because it's not the internal footprint that counts for the square footage, it's the external footprint, and so that includes like the eaves from the roof and everything. So we're not exactly sure the precise square footage of the inside of the house, but it's just under 390. I first started thinking about tiny houses actually when I was 18 and living in a dorm. That was when they first started kind of becoming popular, and just looking at the idea of having everything you need and being self-contained was definitely appealing to me. But it was always just like something I would sketch out for fun, not something that I would ever seriously consider until summer of 2023. I really needed something new to focus on and put in a lot of my time researching, and also just a lot of my brain power having something to go to. And so that was when I first like seriously started considering park models, because for two people, for us at least, some people can live in a really tiny, like 150, 200 square foot house comfortably. That just didn't really seem like us long term. And so building a park model would allow us other places to park legally, qualifying for insurance, resellability, and also just like looking at our own quality of life. We have, in this design that we built, we have everything that we will need. There's not really any sacrifices that we had to make. And so just between like looking at living how we wanted, financial security, also, you know, sustainability, we figured out a way that it would work. No one told us no, and we're doing it now. So we paid to have the shell done, which is all the framework, the trailer, the roof, the windows, and they did the rough end for the electricity and the plumbing. So we paid to have the shell made and had all of that work done already, to save a butt ton of time, but also because those are things I'm not experienced at doing, so we wanted them to be done right. And now I will be doing most of the rest. We're gonna have family do the siding, and I'll have some help with the rest of the plumbing, putting the fixtures in, but insulation, doing the walls, the flooring, ceiling, installing light fixtures and the outlets and everything. All of that will just be on me, and so having it be done that way will save us tons of money because we won't have to pay for labor. There basically aren't financing options for tiny house shells. There is a way to finance it if you're going to have a full build that's like licensed and been inspected, but because we are just doing a shell, there's no tiny house like finance options for us. We looked into personal loans. I was eligible for very little, and Jess was not eligible for anything either, even though we both are working and everything. So if those were our only options, we would not have this. The way we went about it was, the only way to get such a substantial loan was if there was collateral involved. So my mom, who has owned her house for 23 years, has enough equity that she took out a HELOC in her name and also in my name, and that's how we're getting our loan. Me and Jess are solely the ones paying off the loan. It's just in her name because basically if we stop paying, then the bank can say, all right, well, you owe us tens of thousands of dollars. There's 27 years of solid trust built up between my mother and I, so this was definitely a discussion that neither of us took lightly, and had this not been the circumstances, again, there would be no way for us to have this house that we're building. So the HELOC loan, we took out $90,000, which sounds like so much because it is, but again, like, this is our house, this is our residence. We don't have like a regular home payment in addition to this. And so when you look at a $90,000 loan versus a $300,000 financing on a regular house, this is kind of the only accessible thing for us right now anyhow. What we're doing is we're planning on paying off the HELOC in 5 years. I'm doing about $700 a month, and Jess is putting in a few hundred a month as well. How we're planning on doing it is, I know that even not working 40 hours a week, because I don't, I can handle $700 a month. That's accessible to me. And so when it comes to eventually like buying land or renting to put our house on a plot of someone else's land, the house insurance, all of the other things, paying to move the house, that's all going to be on Jess, and she's financially capable of covering those costs. So we had to put all $90K into the building of the shell. I have money saved up to pay for most of the costs of buying the materials to finish the house. So we're looking at only having the $90K in debt, and the rest we should be able to pay for to finish our house. The total amount that we paid to the manufacturer for the shell, I think, was about $110K, which is so much. We're not living in the days of really tiny houses when people just kind of like refurbished sheds or put together a little 150 square foot micro house for 20 grand. But the way that we look at it is we only had so many options for manufacturers that were, at least just a few states away from us. And we had to talk to the companies and see who was even willing to do a shell that wasn't finished and have it be custom. And so the company that we found has a really good reputation. We felt confident in their work, and they were willing to take us on, so that's what we had to pay for them to get us this shell. But again, like, this is going to be our primary residence. Like, this is going to be our house for the foreseeable future, so putting in that much money up front is definitely a lot, but looking long term at what's the most financially sustainable for us, this was the way to go. To have the most options in where we're allowed to park our park model and live in it full time, not just seasonally, and also how we're going to qualify for insurance. It has to be certified, and so because we're not having the whole thing built by a certified manufacturer, just the shell, we're going through a third-party organization. It's called NOAA, and so they actually allow us to do virtual inspections at certain stages in the build, and the people that work at NOAA are qualified inspectors, they're engineers, and so it's like multiple Zoom meetings with an inspector, and they'll like tell us what they need to look at, and so we'll angle the camera so that they can see everything that they need to. And once all of those inspections are complete and we pass them, then we will get a NOAA certification. That just tells insurance and anywhere that we might want to put our house that our house is up to building standards. It's safe to inhabit, it's structurally sound, all of those things. Oh, and it's also a big thing for resale, knowing that even though our house was partially DIY, that it's safe, and had it been built by a manufacturer, it's of similar quality and safety.